Hi everyone, my name is Alex Klenov, or as you may know me, Pipette Jockey. Sorry it's taken me so long to sort of introduce myself. It's partially shyness on my part, partially, not really knowing the sort of reception I was gonna get with this sort of blog. Um, you know, Taking reagents and reverse engineering them. That turned out to be an unfounded sort of fear. The reception has been really good. And sometimes after a 10-12 hour day in the lab, the last thing you have creative energy for is to film a video. But there's never a good time to start something, but today is the day. I have that activation energy. I'm right there, and it's the middle of the night, but today's the day, or tomorrow's the day. Anyways, if you don't want to hear a random Ukrainian guy, talk about himself or self-worth as a scientist or anything like that, I'm going to be, for every video where it's going to be mostly me just talking, I'm going to try and sandwich some practical lab hacks or an experiment or something either in the middle or at the end of the videos, just so for the people who aren't really here to hear me on my soapbox, that's okay. I won't be offended. Just skip ahead to when you can see me, talking with my hands in front of the camera. That's the practical stuff, if that's what you're here for. But anyways, I'm going to try and sandwiches like that just to make it tasty for everyone, But anyways, onwards and forwards to a little bit about me. So I'm a plant biologist by trade, I guess recently more plant virology, but our lab works on an antiviral protein, and it has anti-HIV and anti-hepatitis properties, but really I'm more of a methods development guy, surprise, surprise. And I'm pretty model organism agnostic, but so I spent a lot of time manipulating large RNA plant viruses. That's my thing. So the reason I started this blog was to address the sort of rising costs of doing molecular biology research, and there are things in our line of work which we personally can't make ourselves. None of you are going to refine your own petroleum and make disposable plastic products. Nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna buy a $2 million Illumina sequencing machine. Those are things that we don't really have a control of the price of, or that we can do ourselves. But one thing that we are really getting gouged on are reagents sold by major companies like Thermo Fisher. So, for example, Superscript 4, which is a reverse transcriptase, and it's arguably one of the best reverse transcriptases on the market, hands down. And for a little wee tube, about 100 microliters, which is a raindrop's worth, it's about, I don't know, $600-700 Canadian for the little drop. And if you're going through reverse transcriptase at a fast pace, you could, I know labs that spend $5,000-10,000 a month on reverse transcriptases. It's a big ticket item. But the thing is, for something like one enzyme, it's something that you could do yourself. if you're a talented undergraduate, you could purify your own reverse transcriptase. If you're a graduate student, a postdoc, or a PI that's been in the game for 30 years, you can do it yourself. So just as an example how badly we're being gouged, superscript 4, $700 a tube for Canadians. To make $100,000 worth, it takes about 3 days, maybe 8 hours a day. And if you're paying someone, like, not like the best wage, but a decent wage of $25 an hour, 8 hours a day, 3 days, plus reagents, you're looking at $750 or $1,000 all in, plus 3 days of time, which is important. You can get $100,000 worth of reagent out of it. So $1,000 in, $100,000 out. So even on small scale purification, you can see you're by paying Thermo, $600-700 for that little wee raindrop, you're getting gouged like the markup is like 100 times, and that kind of gets to me. Maybe it's sort of an extreme analogy, but it's and it's buying enzymes isn't a life or death thing, but it's like insulin, for example, where the cost to make really isn't that high, but to maximize profit, the pharmaceutical companies will squeeze every little drop they can out of a person if they're allowed to get away with it. And with insulin, the average person, even probably the average scientist, would have a hard time making insulin, but the average molecular biologist, doesn't matter what niche you are, can fairly easily make couple $100,000 worth of enzymes, not a problem. And this gouging extends to reagents like decontamination mix, which I've done a couple of posts on, or little buffers here and there. The markup can be stupid, like 1,000 times markup. Yeah, so that's why I started the blog, but it's sort of grown into fun projects, plasmids. Yeah, but it all comes down to that core belief that or it's just to remind everyone watching that you're not helpless. You can do things yourself that are worth doing yourself. So that's my goal, essentially. Now, as for the future of the blog, as long as I have hands and I can work, then I'll pay the hosting for the website. It's cheap. It's not bad. However, there may be periods of inactivity. You have to understand I'm in my last year of my PhD, and sometimes fun projects, or just trying to help people out. I gotta have my priorities sometimes. So sometimes things get shuffled to the bottom of the list, but I think long term, as a young guy, I have to find out how to feed myself, how to make sure my family's taken care of, my loved ones, and that's probably going to lead me into industry because it's a topic I'll cover, but scientists in the traditional scientific stream, they don't get paid that much. So likely I'll probably see myself in industry, and how will they view me either running the blog or reverse engineering enzymes on my off hours. We'll see. When I shake someone's hand and sign the NDA, that's my word, so I would never breach any sort of contract that I made with my employers. It's just not the done thing to do, right? But yeah, so I will keep the blog going, as long as I'm able. But if you see me inactive for a while here and there, it's just a normal part of life. I'm not dead, I hope. But yeah, I do want to do more videos on sort of the, I don't know, emotional self-care aspects of being a scientist, because for all our strengths as a group of people, I think we scientists generally don't take care of ourselves as much as we should, and that impacts how we treat younger scientists who are just coming in, and we pass on our sort of bad emotional habits to the younger people, and when they get to the slightly a little bit older, they treat their underlings like that, and it's sort of like this propagation of bad emotional sort of housekeeping. And yeah, it's something that I would like to talk about. There's always time to refine our hard skills, like being the best pipetter, saving money, but being a good scientist sort of comes after being a good, stable person. Yeah, at least in my humble, naive opinion. And I'll do more videos on that, stuff that people don't really talk about too often. Should you, as a high school student, get into science? How much does a scientist get paid? Not that much. How to have self-worth as a scientist, how to treat other people, and that's sort of the perspective that I want to bring. And again, to keep things interesting, if I'm talking a lot, I will try to end it with some practical stuff. So anyways, it's been long enough. It's good to meet everyone. We're slowly but surely growing for such a niche community. My number 1, 2, and 3 countries that visit me are, America. We got the Germans bringing up second place, and the Chinese are the third most visiting peoples. And I don't know, that makes me really happy that multiple groups of people on different sides of the globe are, interested in what I have to say. So, but anyways, on to the practical stuff. Okay, lab hack the first. This is a common thing that you do every day. You want to, in a sterile way, get some media. This is witch's broth. You want to get some media in a sterile manner into Erlenmeyer flask to grow some bacterial culture or yeast, whatever you're growing. So, what are you going to do? Whip out one of these graduated cylinders and measure it? Yeah, I guess you could do that. You know, we did that for quite a while, or I did for quite a while. But, you know, if you want it sterile, you want to autoclave these with a piece of aluminum foil, and it just adds an extra step. So let's get rid of that entirely. Okay, so what you do is you get one of these really cheap, I don't know what do you call them, food scales. You want it to be able to measure a fairly decent range, so get something that can weigh up to, let's say, 5 kilograms, and get something with a resolution, you know, of 0.1 grams. Almost any one of these food scales will actually be more accurate, generally speaking, than a low-grade Erlenmeyer. You know, you can get very high-grade Erlenmeyers, but you know, you may pay $200-300 a piece. But generally, these guys are usually, with, you know, the right laser eyeball, you're only going to get about +- 5%. You know, very often. This isn't even a name brand one, but if it were from, let's say, Nalgene, usually I'll say +- 5%. One of these guys will do you even better. So get yourself one of these scales, turn it on. I personally hate it when machines say hello to me, but that's just me. Imagine we're doing this inside a flow hood, okay, just to maintain sterility, but a flow hood is, as you can imagine, pretty terrible for sound quality. So anyways, you take off your autoclaved Erlenmeyer carefully. All right, take off the wrapper, put it down, tear it out, and let's say I want, you know, I'll be a good boy here. Let's do 100 mLs worth of media. So this is a little hard to do through the camera. I'm gonna do what I guess you can call a sterile pour, okay? If you're not comfortable doing this, then this may be a bit of a moot technique, but you can pour straight from the bottle in a sterile manner, okay? Generally, I like to steady the bottle with a finger and just pour it, so like this. You know what? Close enough. If I was aiming for 100 and I got up to 104 through a viewfinder, that's not too bad. We're already at the level of accuracy of one of these guys. And let's say you're like, Alex, this is a $30 scale. I don't trust it. Just take it and go weigh it on your, you know, precision lab balance. It's going to be pretty close most of the time. So basically, have one of these around, and you won't be using this guy as much. It sounds a bit weird, but I reach for this almost every day now. Lab hack number 1. Okay, so this is probably a common sight to all of you, a busted up parafilm box filled with, you know, the last quarter roll of parafilm that never seems to go away. Basically what you use it for, if you don't know, is you take a strip off and you use it as a barrier to wrap up agar plates to keep the moisture in, generally, and to keep, you know, contaminants out in some cases. But it's got some thickness to it. You know how it feels. It's like a waxy, almost plasticky feeling. But what's really nice about parafilm is that it stretches, and you know, you can make it easily all the way around. You can easily make it all the way around an entire agar plate without it breaking. There you go, nice and sealed. Not too bad, right? Well, what if you had to seal up like 20 or 30 of these? I do that sometimes, you know? All right, so what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna take 20 or 30 of these and then spend the time. It's the last quarter of a roll. The paper doesn't come off anymore. What are you gonna do? Futz with 30 of these, and then you know, and then like one end is kind of like weakened already, and then you're gonna do that 30 times? No, I'm gonna blow your mind right now. Okay, I'm gonna blow your mind. What you do? Okay, take a little corner of this little rascal, peel an entire section back. Then you take and you cut off 30 strips. Maybe this isn't news to you, but this blew my mind. I've been doing it the other way for, I don't know, like 5 years. Such a time saver. Just peel off all the paper at once. Eh? Pretty good. Okay, lab hack the third. So bench space, as you may imagine, or as you definitely know, is priceless. The more real estate that you have on your bench, the happier a camper you'll be. When you start your day, you'll get your ice bucket, you get your racks, what else? Get your Kim wipe, get your calculator out. That space disappears pretty quickly, and the messier that your work area is, generally you're inviting mistakes to happen. So, one of my favorite ways to keep my desk space clean is just to magnetize anything I can get my hands on. Okay? So, calculator, magnetized. Waste bin, magnetized. Just a huge pile, a totally normally sized pile of razor blades, magnetized. Also, sub lab hack, it keeps your coworkers' hands away from your stuff if you have razor blades everywhere. Just saying. Pens, pen container, magnetized. Timer, obviously most of them come magnetized, but you can add a bigger magnet. What else we got here? Anything metal, magnetized just by putting a magnet up above your bench. It's real easy. It keeps everything, it makes cleanup much easier, and anything you need at arm's reach, I guess. Oh, what else? Kim wipes. Kim wipes. Magnetized. Towel, magnetized. just, if you have a bit of ferrous metal above your bench, or if your bench is made out of ferrous metal, you can stick magnets on it.